Carson Wentz, obviously, in the middle of battle all night with this Chargers team. Now, Justin Herbert with Joe Alt starting this year, they're 4-0. Feels like he's a real difference maker. What's your takeaway from last night's domination by the Los Angeles Chargers, Coach?
Yeah, definitely. I think like most games, it really starts up front, and I think having Joe Alt back definitely made a huge difference. And you can't from the start of the game. I mean, the Chargers were in control throughout. I mean, I think they had plus 40 rushes, and I think Justin threw the ball about 27, 28 times. So, I mean, that's a great formula for success. I thought they ran, they threw it. I thought the chunk yardages, and I thought Justin really played a really gritty game, with his rushing attempts and, extended plays. And when he did throw it off the action game, you could definitely see, the big play opportunities that they were able to hit. So I thought Chargers were clearly in charge, up front. I know there was a lot of injury challenges throughout the week, and I know we've talked about this in past weeks. The Thursday night injury challenge, in my experience, it's clearly the biggest, because you're trying to get an injured player that may or may not play in the game, get him reps, but then also if he doesn't go, you're trying to get the next guy the reps and to get that coordinated, to get the connection and continuity that you want to get each and every week going into it. It's Thursday night being a short week on its own is a challenge, but it's really on both sides of the spectrum of, is he playing, isn't he playing, and so forth. And I think definitely, I thought Joe Alt looked like his old man there last night. I thought he played a hell of a game.
Coach, we saw, speaking of injuries, J.J. McCarthy, he was on the sideline. We showed a clip a little bit ago. I don't know if you watched him. He's got some great agility. He's supposed to have an ankle injury, I guess. He's moving pretty dang well right here. You see, he avoids a disaster. That could have been really, really bad. And he's still locked in on the game. I guess it seems like we're expecting to see J.J. McCarthy out in the near future under center for the Vikings. What do you expect to see when McCarthy gets back in here?
Well, I think the biggest thing, in not knowing without any communication, but the fact that he was the third quarterback in the game tells you he's close. So I thought that was definitely a good sign for JJ. But yeah, I think clearly getting back in there and just getting him into the rhythm. I mean, I think clearly if you're calling a defense against a young quarterback, you really want to make it hard for him on first and second down, because I know as an offensive coach, offensive play caller, you're always trying to make the ride for normal down the distance a little easier on your quarterback, because we all know that third down and red zone is where they truly make their money, and the emphasis on making sure he's ready there, because those are the things when you don't play as a quarterback, to get back into that time clock, because things move differently, faster, and come at you differently in third down and in the red zone part of it. So I think if it can just move them around, the quarterback to movements and keeps and so forth, and tie the run and action passing game together, give him some productivity, so he's playing a favorable down distance in third down, and give him some clean opportunities in the red zone.
Yeah, you always want to have favorable down and distance, Donner. You certainly want that whenever you're talking about an offensive game. You want to matriculate the ball.
Just teeing you up there, Pat. Just teeing you up, little Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Are we going half back today? I didn't get the memo. A little Irish guy trying to get some sun on his face. It looks like that.
Hey, that looks awesome. You look unbelievable. AJ, please. AJ, please. AJ.
There you go. There he is. AJ, you look good behind the mic there. Yeah, there's all right, Ty.
There we go. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Tone.
Where's Gumpy?
Tone,
do it.
Flip it around.
Tone. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gump.
Yeah.
I got the height on it.
Back at you.
Hey, okay, so the Backwards Hat Boys are here to talk a little ball, and I am certainly having a blast about that. Okay, let's talk J.J. McCarthy potentially getting back onto the field. Obviously, Carson Wentz has the night that he has under duress. They had Sam Darnold in that building, obviously. They had Danny Dimes in that building beforehand. Aaron allegedly was interested in going there. Now you're talking about guys that are having incredible seasons, and the Vikings are in the situation that they're in. Excited to see how they move past that. Hopefully JJ is a guy. Let's talk about another quarterback that is having an absolutely massive season, which I assume is no surprise to you. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Coach, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Cowboys were pretty much left for dead, even though Dak had been doing, unbelievable. The last couple weeks, defenses looked a little bit better. What's your overall thought on the Cowboys as we stand right now? And do you think they're kind of, we've already heard Jerry mention it, and it's kind of been floating around. Like, are they going to be buyers at the trade deadline, thinking that they actually might be able to kind of make some noise down the stretch and going into the playoffs?
Yeah, clearly staying out of the homer mindset here. We've talked about this since the draft. I think this is an ascending football team. I think they did the right things during the offseason. As far as going through, veteran free agency, the draft. In my experience of being a head coach is the biggest improvement in your football team comes from the players that are already there. And they got an excellent locker room and an excellent group of core players, and they're young. I look at the Cowboys and the Packers very similar. These are young teams that are only going to get better. And I think that, with the injury challenge that every team has, if they can just stay in front of that a little bit more, this team's going to get better each week. And I do agree with you on the defense. I mean, the offense has hit their stride. They're putting up big numbers. But, also I think when you look at stats, the defense has played in 2 overtime games. So, that goes both ways. That definitely weighs down your statistics. And I think the defense, if they can, the mindset, if they can just get 1 stop a half, build that up to 1 stop a quarter, and the way the offense is playing and their special teams, particularly, their battery, their core guys are as good as anybody's in the league. So I think this is a very good football team that has an arrow pointing up. I've always felt that. As far as being buyers, I think they just got to stay the course. Micah Parsons deserved the contract that he received in Green Bay, and on a personal level, when you see one of your players get that contract, it's obviously exciting because he's definitely earned that. But what it has put Dallas in a position to do second contracts on their draft class guys that are coming up, and that's where AJ, our experience in Green Bay, we were able to keep signing all those second contracts, and you do not have enough good football players. We've talked about this on the show before, 77 players to win a Super Bowl. And I think what they're doing in their roster development is exactly the way you need to do it. They've gotten more second contracts done in the last 2 months, and I know I saw in my time there, and that's a huge benefit to the overall roster development of that football team. Young team, excellent locker room. They can lean on the offense right now. I do believe the defense is going to be better. It's the third, 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years. That stuff does factor a little bit, especially, philosophically, they've gone back more 23 than what they were in 24. So I just think this is a good team. If they can stay healthy, keep working together, it's a really good group of guys that bust their ass, and that's the facts, Jack. And that's the way I feel about those guys.
Yeah, and I was about to say, you've never been bitter. Even whenever you joined us at the draft, which was just a couple months removed from, you no longer being the head coach of the team, you talked about how good you thought that team was, how good the roster was. Then when the Micah thing happens, you don't bury anybody. You stayed very above board with the entirety of it all. And you just talked about roster development and second contracts and everything like that. Shall we give Landman, Jerry Jones, a little bit more credit maybe? Because everybody kills him for everything. But it sounds like you're talking about actually being able to build from within and keep your own guys, which is what I don't think a lot of people think of whenever they think of the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody thinks Jerry Jones got his hands on too many things. He's ruining the roster as opposed to any other stuff. Who takes the compliment for being able to build the roster the way it is? And how did you know that this group was going to be a group that was going to be good, even though, there was a lot of shit being thrown at him after the Micah trade?
Well, first off, I do want to thank you for recognizing my EQ there, Pat. That was awesome. But secondly, I do think
that is good EQ. That is good.
It's good EQ. But I think okay, awesome.
You're
on it,
EQ.
Connor.
This is EQ. This is EQ.
There you go.
Yeah, I potted that up. No problem.
I think it's their process here. I think the process of how they build the roster. It's you're looking at this thing as 2, 3, 4 years of draft classes that are come together. And one of the things I know when I first went to Green Bay, and the benefit of working in Kansas City, I always felt was our off-season program was so good because so many guys lived there in the off-season. And in Green Bay, that was a bit of a challenge. Now we had some guys later in their career that would stay there year-round, but the benefit you have in Dallas, Texas, is your whole team's there 12 months out of the year, and these guys are developing and working out together all the time, even if it's not at the facility. It could be across the street, So
you're saying the boys are around. You're saying the boys are around.
Oh, no, they're there all the time. I mean, it's a good group, and Dax, he's an incredible leader. He has a situation where he's part of a workout facility there that, you go in there, January, February, March, there's 40, 50 NFL players there. So it's just a really good training environment. I just think that, and we used to say it every year in Green Bay when we were together, the biggest improvement will come from the guys that are already there. The draft class, great. The free agents you're they're nice because they're new, they're fresh, but the main dudes, your core guys, that's what makes the needle move each and every year. And I think Dallas is in that mode right now. And I think they got a chance to be a pretty good damn football team next couple of years.
George Pickens, obviously huge pickup as well. Fits right into the culture. They like,
Absolutely.
yeah, huge. And him playing as good as he's playing and buying in as quickly as he has, good for him because he was fun to watch whenever he was playing good football. And obviously, there's always going to be stuff around wide receivers. I'm happy he's getting the rock. Dak handling it perfectly. Now, let's talk about some things that have come up in a couple different games now. Obviously, a couple different games. There's been some blatant misses when it comes to the refs, but the refs as a whole have become a little bit of a conversation piece. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach. There's actually a study UTEP just did, and they, kind of released it about, benefiting from certain calls as teams. And, the Chiefs were the team to spotlight. And I have a Patriots helmet on my desk, so believe me, I get it, okay? But TJ Lang said, basically along the lines of, look, like when the Packers, when we were really going, when we were the best, sometimes there were certain crews where we would benefit from. And I saw some people respond to that saying that's the single dumbest thing said in modern history. But I don't think TJ Lang, took it that serious. But when it's, when it comes to those type of things, reffing crews, and not just in the NFL and NCAA and kind of all sports, even, umpire crews, if that's how that works, whatever, you get it. When it comes to NFL reffing crews, why do you think some crews have a different feel for the game? Do you think that is, kind of depending on the teams? Do you think that's depending on the weather? Like, why do you think that refs kind of decide and go about games kind of differently on a week-to-week basis when fans like myself just kind of see it as like, hey, whether it's a 1 o'clock game, whether it's a primetime game, whether it's Wednesday afternoon football, like the game needs to be called the exact same no matter what?
Well, I look at it, every season, as a journey. You look at, as a head coach, and you look at players, the vibe and how everything moved through your season. Where you are as a team. There's ups and downs, and the ebb and flow is so critical. Well, I mean, the officiating crews, they go through the same thing, and I think the biggest thing is to answer your question specifically. There's a number of variables I think that go into how these crews have to manage their ebb and flow of a season. This is obviously my opinion. I think number one, the white hat. He's the leader of the crew. He has the biggest effect on the crew each and every week because these guys put a ton of work into it. And I think one of the best things the league has done here of late, the last, I don't know how many years it's been, 5, 6, 7 years, is having the crews be a big part of the training camp. So you're seeing these crews are going out to 2 or 3 training camps themselves. So now the interaction with the players and coaches is higher than it's ever been. So, interaction, common language, common understanding, the fact that, players get to know the name and the face of each guy. I've always put the guys up in front of the team meeting room and had them, interact as much as possible, encourage them to be around the players as much as possible in the cafeteria and things like that. So that's part of it. But as the season goes on, they're getting graded every week. They understand that the trends, they know what the trends are of holdings up and what's down, and they know if they miss a call and things like that too. So the human nature is. Oh, I think so. I think the human nature.
Coach, that pool report shit is bullshit.
I'm not standing up for the pool report. Yeah, the pool. Who wants? I don't even know why they do the poll report.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, because what are we testing? Their immediate accountability after the game. So there's another box to check. That to me, I must have missed something. I don't know. But did something happen in the poll report that I missed in my?
No,
in my
you just talked about these guys. No,
But-
you said that these guys know whenever they get a call wrong or whatever. Then every time we hear from them, it's always this pool report, and they go, "Well, we actually did this," and there's no accountability. So, one of the reasons why people get so mad is because there's seemingly no accountability from the refs at all. And they'll send you guys an email, "Hey, we missed this one. So yeah, you guys lost the game. Your entire staff's probably getting fired, and the player has a low light for the rest of his life on there. But we missed that call. We apologize." It's like the accountability thing is always like the biggest, I think, from the fans. So you're saying they know they missed the call. I think that's big news. Like, okay, at least behind.
Well, I'm not saying immediately after the game, Pat. You know what I mean? The poll report to your. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
They claim that, Coach, they claim they get graded from whoever their top official is. They say they grade them, and then those guys don't get playoff games if you're one of the lower graded crews, I guess. At least that's what they've said to me.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. The post-game evaluation process that they do go through. I do know they go that, and then as a coach, you do have the opportunity to call the league office and call the regional director. So I just think that it's just like anything. I mean, you want to solve problems, heighten the communication, heighten the education, heighten the interaction, between the people that you want to, perform better. And I think the league office has done that with the officiating crews. You have the opportunity to communicate more with those guys more today, I know, than back in 06, when I first became a head coach. So I think the system of trying to get it right, they're definitely working it. But at the end of the day, I know one of the things, just watching TV, being a fan, it looks like they've had a lot of change in personnel too. So I mean, there's newer guys, there's more going on. So I mean, that takes time too. So, but I do think the white hats, the head guys are very much impactful on how that crew is going to officiate each week. And the communication that goes into that, and the fact that they can communicate now during the game on the headsets, I think was a huge asset when they put that in. And what's that? 10 years now, 8, 9. So it kind of all runs together. But I think all those steps have been very beneficial to improving our game, or attempting to.
I agree. I agree, and I even like the New York calling in saying, hey, this is obvious, get away with it. But then whenever they lie about it, I mean, it's just a tough gig. Nobody wants to be refs. There's a lot of new refs, a lot of good refs leaving. I think they're only going to continue to get better. Let's get some more players in a pipeline to become officials in the NFL as well. Last question here about the biggest game of the weekend. AP Tone has one about another McCarthy Bowl. Go ahead, Tone.
We had McCarthy Bowl 1. That was the Cowboys and Packers earlier this year, ending in overtime. We have McCarthy Bowl 2 this weekend, Sunday Night Football.
Hell yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers take on the Green Bay Packers. Coach, obviously you have some ties to this one. I don't know if you're going to be there or not, but how do you think this affects Aaron? Like, because obviously you know Aaron better than a lot of us. Like, the motivation going into Sunday Night Football, how do you feel Aaron deals with that and just the game overall?
Well, first off, you guys are awesome because you've communicated so well that this is actually a McCarthy Bowl. So, and I've been invited to this one. So I feel really good about it.
Let's go.
But I think it's going to be a hell of a game. And I think just fall ball back in Pittsburgh, the Packers coming to town. I think it's going to be an incredible setting. Really looking forward to watching the game. So I think it's a pick 'em. I'm going back to the old pigskin games. I don't even know what the line is. Don't want to know what the line is. I think this is going to be a hell of a football game. Looking forward to watching.
I'm excited for you to get back there and hopefully get your love. I'm happy you were invited, and we appreciate the hell out of you, Coach. I think the backwards hat, not a bad play. Dan Quinn started doing it. You saw it. He became like a Florida man whenever he joined you. He started doing a backwards hat under your leadership. We appreciate the hell out of you, Coach. Safe travels back to Pittsburgh.
All right, man. Have a great week. Thank you.
You're the man, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, Coach.